2013 when he was hoping to attract Conservative MPs to join him. That was the gossip anyway. Also, near the end of the lunch, he talks about David Cameron's speech. This was the much-awaited speech on immigration, just so you know. Anyway, here it is.
Hello.
Hello.
Nigel Farage arrived, neat and relaxed, thirsty for a drink.
What would you like?
Gin and tonic.
Absolutely.
Good. Excellent. Very good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
His phone began to ring immediately.
Hi. Yeah, fine. Is it true that Elliot's writing Cameron's speech?
You are someone who seems to get into scrapes.
Yes.
Do you sort of embrace it, do you think?
I don't think the scrapes are deliberately sort of preconceived ideas at gaining publicity. I think they just happen through excesses of personalities. And I've always said I'm deeply flawed. Deeply flawed. And I make mistakes, and a couple of times in politics I've gone over the top.
Like when?
Oh, I think the Herman Van Rompuy moment.
He is who, just so...
Well, he is the president of 500 million people in Europe. I mean, not that we've ever had a chance to vote for him, and nor can we remove him, but there we are.
So what did you say about him?
I said he'd just been appointed president of Europe, and I said, but you have the charisma of a damp rag and the appearance of a low-grade bank clerk. And the question that I want to ask, the question we ought to ask is, who are you? I don't regret the words at all.
What do you regret, then?
The tenor in which I delivered it. It was a little bit too high. It was a little bit too aggressive.
Too shrill?
Yeah, too shrill.
Yes.
I've certainly learned from that. I've learned not to speak too quickly.
Are you talking quite slowly now?
Yeah, all very.
Maybe you had a slight feeling, having been in the city in that very competitive environment, to be a bit of a show-off.
Well, I mean, I can't get away from the fact that I'm a bit of a screaming extrovert, and that's never going to change. I could fight the world on a good day, particularly after lunch. But I've decided that's not the sensible approach. That, I hope, is part of growing up and part of realising that wise generals don't fight every battle. What's the pie of the day?
Pie of it's a fish pie.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Why?
Let's get a red bottle or something, and...
Yes. Do you have a preference? I'm not very good at wine.
I like it all.
Nigel Farage's parents divorced when he was a little boy. He's candid about that, but talking about his father's alcoholism, which he wrote about in his book, he finds less easy.
I think we were protected from it to a very great extent, which meant there was even less understanding of why things were happening the way in which they were.
Because you didn't see him as much as you
no.
might have liked to have done.
No, that's right. That's right. We didn't. But I think that... I mean, it wasn't easy going through some of this stuff. It wasn't easy at all. But...
And what did your father say when he read it?
Not much. Not much. His life has changed massively.
Because he stopped drinking, didn't
Yeah,
he?
absolutely. You know, it is a disease for some people, and they have to pack it up completely. And I'm lucky.
Well, you're famously someone who likes to drink.
Yes, I am, but it's very odd, isn't it, that the way that I live would have been considered normal not very long ago, but has now been denormalised by this Puritan, ghastly PC world we're living in. And no one drinks anymore, you know, and you go out to lunch with members of Parliament and they're all on the mineral water, you know. It's just that they think sort of glass of red, they might collapse or say something dreadful, or I know how much I want, I know when to stop. I very rarely wake up feeling rotten because of the night before, and I'm perfectly happy with it. Why not point out that sensible alcohol consumption actually makes the world a better place?
No, you should try it.
If it was vinegar, I would tell you. It's absolutely fine, thank you.
That's a relief. It was during the 2010 general election, on the morning that polls opened, that he experienced one of his more dramatic scrapes. He'd taken to the sky in a small plane, hoping to tow a banner, but it became enmeshed in the tail wing and forced the plane to nosedive. Did you think you were going to die?
Of course. The one thing I can remember more than anything is the noise of impact. And this bang! We hit the ground, the nose hit the ground. And I remember as we were flipping over, like a shaft of light in my eyes, and thinking, it hasn't gone black, I'm not dead. I realised that I was very, very bent, with my head bent in towards my body. I could barely breathe, battling to try and breathe, in a lot of pain. And I remember thinking, it can't ever get worse than this. It can't ever get worse than this. This is just awful. But really the worst feeling was the feeling, well, what if this thing sparks and catches fire? There was lots of fuel around the
And
place.
you could smell it.
Oh, overpowering. That was the most frightening thing. I'm not frightened of dying. That's the easy bit. No, but burning to death, trapped in the wreckage of a plane, I wasn't very keen on that.
Did it instantly change the way you thought, or did it
As
change
I-
your attitude to life?
As I walked away from that, just as I remember lying in that wreckage, thinking nothing can ever get worse than this, I remember as I walked away, thinking nothing can ever get better than this. I've survived. I might
quick
have
coffee?
I might have a coffee.
What sort of coffee would you like?
I'd like to have a black coffee, but with double cream.
Yes, of course.
2 of those.
Who would you most like to come over to UKIP? Are you talking to Conservative MPs to see whether they're the ones who you think might have some sympathies with UKIP?
Well, of course we are, but
Like who?
of course we are. Look, it's all complete speculation. Let's see. I'm not going to name anybody that I'd most like to come to UKIP.
But how many then? Are you in touch with, or do people get in touch with you?
Stuart Wheeler has made the point that he's been out and met 7 or 8 current serving backbench Conservative
haven't?
MPs. I've met 1 or 2 of them as well, and
What did you think?
I think a lot depends on Cameron's speech.
This speech, which
I
is
think
coming
this
up.
big speech, this big, long, tantric tease wait, and I think if his speech dissatisfies, people will come. If his speech satisfies, they probably won't, and that's where we are.
So after the speech, they'll be on the phone to you, or you'll be on the phone to them to gauge it.
Yeah, I think that's right. But there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to win. And whether it's UKIP that kicks the ball over the goal line in the end, or whether it's somebody else, it doesn't matter. What I do know is we are changing the national debate in this country, and that, for me, makes it worthwhile getting up every morning.
Do you want to be Prime Minister?
I think that's extremely unlikely. I'm a
No, but do you want to be?
No.
So you definitely don't want to be Prime Minister?
I don't want to be Prime Minister. It's extremely unlikely I ever would be Prime Minister.
There we are. We finished our coffee, and you've got to rush, have you?
Yep, busy afternoon.
Okay, well, thanks very much.
Thank you. Love your lunch.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.